Yo, what's the deal? It's your man DeeJay KNS back again with another beat making video right here in the lab in sunny South Florida. What we're gonna do this week is we're gonna flip another video game soundtrack. The first video game soundtrack, if you've been paying attention, was Red Dead Redemption 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Now we're about to flip another favorite of mine. And we're talking about Ghost of Tsushima right here, you know what I mean? Anything ninja samurai related, I'm all in. And what can I say about this game other than this game is fire, and the soundtrack is even more John Blaze than that. There's so much stuff to pick on that soundtrack, so let's go ahead and dig through it and see if we can make some heat. Shout out to the homie Big Drain for the Drain Flicks t-shirt right here. And with that said, let's get it cracking. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and get this sample recorded in Maschine. I got it here in Serato sample. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. All right, so I just got all the samples in, so let's go ahead and start editing. First thing I'm gonna do is normalize everything. All right, so now we can start chopping this up. All right, I got all of them chopped up. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the polyphony in all of them and also the trigger modes. So. And then we're gonna set that to one shot. And also we're gonna set the pad to choke group 1. All right, so we set the choke group. I think what I'm gonna do for this one, I think I'm gonna set that to ADSR. So, all right, so let's do that. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some drums and get a little rhythm going before we try and lay down a sample chop. All right, I loaded up some drums. So let's go ahead and lay down a pattern and see how it goes. right, so we have 4 bars right now. I'm gonna neaten it up before I double it. So let me do that real quick. All right, so I neatened it up. This is what it sounds like. Cool. All right, so now that we got the drums laid down, we're gonna go ahead and do a chop with these samples and see what we can come up with. All right, so let's get that going. All right, cool. So let's see if we can come out with a B section before we go extending this and other things like that. Let's see if we can come up with another section, all right? All right, so that's cool. What I want to do is I want to layer this, but I'm probably going to put a delay on there. So let me go ahead and do that now. All right, so the delay would sound like this. And we'll put that at the very end. So let's do it. Okay, sounds good to me. So let's go ahead and see if we can work on a bass line and see if we can put it all together. All right, so let's see if we can come up with a nice pattern for the bass. All right, so here's where we're going to double that pattern and change a few notes. All right, I went ahead and tightened some stuff up and changed a few notes, and this is how it sounds. All right, so now let's do a pattern for the hook section. We're probably gonna do something simple where we go, and then we go up an octave too. See what I'm saying? So let's do that. So I'm gonna double that, and then I'm gonna change a little bit of notes at the end because we have that big sample, right? That goes up, and we gotta match that. So let me go ahead and do that right now. All right, so I went ahead and doubled that. So now we have 8 bars, and I changed a few notes at the end so that it matches the sample that comes in at the end. So this is what it sounds like. All right, so now that we have that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double the verse part so that it's 16 bars, right? And this part right here, the hook part, is 8 bars, right? So before I do that, let's come up with an intro. All right, for the intro, we're gonna lay down a simple pattern, and then we're gonna do some tricks with the velocity to make it fade out, and then we'll add on to that. I'll show you what I mean. Hood! All right, these right here, this starts at 100, so this one is gonna go to around 90. And this one's gonna drop to around 80. And this one's gonna drop to around 70. So it sounds like this. All right. So now we got to do a little bit of drums for that part, and I'll show you what I mean. So for that part, we're going to do like a note repeat and fade up. So we're going to use, well, we're going to note repeat that 16 triplets. So it goes like this. All right. So now that we have the 16 triplet, it sounds like this. Obviously, it's not gonna continue to play because it's gonna jump into the next section. But what I wanna add is I wanna add right before that comes in. So check this out. See what I'm saying? So it's gonna do the kick snare and the triplets, right? All right, so before we do anything else, we gotta add our drop, and then we're gonna probably add this little sound effect in the verse area to kind of give it some movement. So let's do the drop right now. Hey, yo, K&S, drop it on them, drop it on them. All right. So right now it sounds crazy because once it turns around, that loop keeps going. But you'll see once we chain it together that that's not going to happen. So what I want to do is I'm going to add this other sound effect into our verse section, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this little sound effect as kind of a sweeper, swell type of sound effect at the end of our verse pattern so that you can see that it's transitioning to the hook, right? I also added a little bit of variations to the drums at the very end. I took out the drums and then I just put a few kicks and you'll hear it. And I also did the same thing with the hook section. After the hook is gonna turn around, I took out all the drums there and I did some snare repeats. So here we go. so now that we have that, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna chain everything together in song mode and hear how it all fits together.
I don't want to kill you. Stop!
All right, y'all, so I got everything in song mode, right? I have the 2-bar intro, I have the 16-bar verse, and I have the 8-bar hook. So this is what it all sounds like.
Hey, yo, KNS, drop it on 'em, drop it on 'em.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Think we got another one with that one. Another video game soundtrack flip. One of my favorite video games, Ghost of Tsushima. You know I like all the samurai and ninja games and things of that nature. I thought it came out hot, but y'all gotta let me know what y'all think. So make sure you hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you would have flipped it a different way. Either way, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Always remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so every time I drop a new piece of content, you'll be the first to know. Also, don't forget to check out the website, DJKNS.com. And lastly, make sure you check me back next week for another beat video. And with that said, KNS out.
Hey, yo, KNS, drop it on 'em, drop